What's not to believe?
For more on things that governors do with fishing props, we're joined right now by Tim Pawlenty, the former governor of the great state of Minnesota. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Steve.
Do you think Mike Huckabee actually caught those?
The thing I'm worried about in that picture is the Huck's legs look a little pasty.
Yes, absolutely true.
He needs a little bronzer or some something, or some sun.
And you would think
tan in a can.
And being that he has 5 days off, we just have him on weekends right now. He could be.
Those are
doing
some good-looking
something
fish, though, don't you?
Right. Right.
ABC, delicious.
But the one thing that you do want to do that Mike Huckabee has done is a year ago, a year before he actually won Iowa, about right now, he was at 4% approval rating. He had 4% of the vote in Iowa. You got 6. He ended up winning Iowa. Do you see some similarities?
Oh, absolutely we do. But the other thing is, don't put any stock in these early polls. If they had any meaning at all, Rudy Giuliani or Hillary Clinton would be president of the United States. At this point in the race, they were 10, 20 or more points ahead of their competitors. These early polls never predict, almost never predict, the final outcome of these races.
And yet, that had to be disappointing for you to get 6% because you have spent some time in Iowa. Why do you think that you haven't resonated there more thus far?
Well, since that poll started, we started some TV ads and some radio ads, and I'm going to be spending even more time down there. So this is like the warm-ups in a sporting game. The warm-ups are now over, preseason's maybe underway, but the real campaign is just about to start, and I think you'll see a different picture come fall or early winter.
And Governor, speaking of the new radio ad, you take a shot at Mitt Romney, and some say you're taking a shot at Michelle Bachmann as well.
Well, the ad focuses on these things. Do health care the right way, no mandates, no takeovers. And number two, as we think
That's
about...
a shot at Romney.
Okay, that's a shot at Romney. And then secondly, pick people who actually have results, who have executive leadership, who don't just talk about reducing spending, cutting taxes, doing health care the right way and the like, but we need to emphasize people who don't just have the rhetoric but have the results. And I did it in a very blue place, the state of Minnesota.
But you think now is the time to start separating yourself from the other Republicans while still showing respect. And you could be looking at a congresswoman and what she did and the surge that she's experiencing and what you feel you did in Minnesota.
I think as you look to the challenges that the president presents, you got to have somebody who's got executive experience, who's run something large and hasn't just issued speeches or statements, but has achieved results. I'll put my record of results up against anybody in this race. It's the best record. You had a guest on earlier from the Club for Growth. Right. The Cato Institute gave 4 governors total an A grade for fiscal discipline and management in this country. The other 3 aren't running for president.
Right. And so Michelle Bachmann announced yesterday.
And I was one of the 4, by the way.
Yeah, I thought, I thought that's why you pointed it out.
She officially announced yesterday. Does having a woman in the race change the tone, change the dynamic at all?
Well, everybody brings something different to the table. I like Congresswoman Bachmann. I know her. I've campaigned for her. I respect her. But again, everybody brings something different to the table. I actually move the needle on all the stuff that people talk about, reducing spending, reducing taxes, health care reform, education reform, public employee pension reform, and not only talked about it, but did it in one of the most difficult political environments in the country. And if we can do it in Minnesota, we can do it anywhere.
All right. Let's back up just a second. You mentioned the guy from Club for Growth who was with us about 15 minutes ago. He gave you very high marks for taxes and spending. You kept them both down. But he did have a problem. Club for Growth had a problem with your cap and trade.
Yeah, I've got a problem with my cap and trade stance. I denounced it, Steve. Well, I looked at it as almost every major candidate in the race did, so I'm not the only one. I'm just the one who gets asked about it.
Sure.
But more importantly, several years ago, 2 years ago, I said it's a bad idea. I was wrong. I'm sorry. And I issued a statement saying, don't do it.
It's okay to change your mind.
Well, it's also was a bad idea, and I recognize that. So I've denounced that position.
Governor Huntsman said the same thing, but for different reasons. He endorsed it. He was supportive of it, but he says with our economic situation right now, now's not the time. That's different from what you're saying.
Yeah, I denounced it for a variety of reasons, one of which is the science is bad, and it's in great dispute.
Do you believe that there is no such thing as global warming? You think that's trumped up by people out there who want to get on the green agenda?
Well, I'm old enough to remember, Brian, that when people were predicting there was going to be the next ice age. So there is climate change. There's always been climate change. But until recently, people were worried as much about global cooling. So there is climate change. But the reality of it is the science indicates most of it, if not all of it, is caused by natural causes. And as to the potential human contribution to that, there's a great scientific dispute about that very issue.
You're exactly right.
Today you're going to the Council on Foreign Relations to give a foreign policy speech. What's your main point that you want to make?
The main point is focused on the Middle East and the Arab Spring, and to President Obama and to Republicans. Now is not the time to retrench. Now is not the time to withdraw. We have a moment of opportunity to advance freedom in the Middle East, and we need to lead that effort, not shrink from it.
But each country has different demands,
Yes,
and this
does.
arguably is as difficult as we've ever experienced. For example, did the president mess up not supporting Hosni Mubarak? Did he mess up by not going quicker to have him ousted? Where do you stand?
Well, the administration's response to Egypt, Brian, was confused. You know, you had Hillary Clinton saying the situation was stable. You know, less than 2 weeks later, Mubarak was gone. You had the vice president saying Mubarak's not a dictator. Yes, he is. You had Wiesner go to before the president and then over to Europe and say, we said Mubarak must go, but we really didn't mean it. You had him, the director of our intelligence, go before Congress and say the Muslim Brotherhood is a quote-unquote largely secular organization.
Oops.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they were obviously caught off guard, but worse yet, they were confused and hesitant. Mubarak was a dictator, and we should have been working not over 6 days, but 6 years trying to move him from the continuum of tyranny towards freedom.
As we talk about the budget deficit ceiling, they are talking about cutting military spending. With Tim Pawlenty?
I don't support cutting the defense budget. You can slow down the increase, you can reprioritize, and you can make it more efficient. But if you believe what I believe about defense, we need to maintain our commitment to defense in this country. And the way forward on spending is to fix entitlements in the rest of the budget.
So, Governor, what's the one thing that people don't know about Tim Pawlenty that you want to get out there?
Well, Steve and I were talking in the hallway about Lady Gaga, and he has an affinity for Lady Gaga.
Does
I didn't
he?
realize that.
I didn't know that about Steve
I'm so
either.
happy that she made it to Italy.
I thought Born This Way was interesting. He was interested in bad romance. He said it kind of reflected his life story. I didn't know what he meant by that.
He's just trying to get off.
That.
He's just trying to get off the hook on the Mike Huckabee has pasty white legs comment.
Right, that's true. It all
Do you
full
think the
circle.
Huck was waxing?
I think we have an A-block
Absolutely.
for the Huckabee show this weekend.
Yeah, we'll do an
All right,
investigation.
yeah, thanks for having me.
Governor, thanks for
Scott.
dropping by. We know you got a busy day.